This is Savage Jim, and this is my M1 Garand rifle. The M1 Garand rifle was made somewhere in between World War I and World War II, and production lasted up until probably about 1957 when the M14 rifle took its place. The M1 Garand is also the very first semi-automatic rifle to replace the bolt-action rifle and be issued on a mass scale to all branches of the military service of its time. The M1 Garand is chambered for the 30-06 Springfield rifle casing. This is what the rifle shell looks like. And it can be loaded with up to 8 shells at a given time. The rifle does not use a debuckler style magazine like your lever action Winchesters do, nor do they use a box style magazine like your later M16 rifles do. Instead, what they do use are these on block singular stamp piece clips, in which you load up to 8 of these shells at a given time. Let me demonstrate here. It's kind of difficult to do. I'm not very proficient at doing this. I don't take this rifle out to shoot at it too often of a time. But that's what an on-block clip of 8 rounds looks like, ready to fire. The rifle can be fired in single shot, or it can be fired through the 8-round on-block clip. The way to load the weapon is as follows. You have your operating rod back here, your charging handle. You simply pull that back, and automatically, without any assistance of pressing any other levers or buttons, the lever stays back if it is not loaded. I've taken the rounds out of the clip magazine, and I just wanted to demonstrate how you load the clip into the rifle itself. Just simply put the clip of your rounds back here, you line it up, you see that it has these this flanged protrusion out here on the sides, both sides of the clip. It lines up with a slide, I guess a recess here on the upper receiver, and it goes all the way down, you know, into that slide right here. You can see that shape right here. That's your recess for this flange. Push it all the way down with the rounds. This assembly right here is spring loaded. It goes up and down. This is pushed down by the rounds, and as the last round hits is all the way down, and it's in the well recess, the bolt starts to come forward, and it will automatically close by itself rather quickly. A lot of folks during this service time with this rifle, they would get what is called M1 Garand thumb, or just what I mean is, as the bolt is coming forward, they don't pull out their thumbs fast enough before the bolt closes forward and locks the first round into the firing chamber. Now, as you fire the weapon, it's semi-automatic gas operated. One pull of the trigger fires 1 round. And as the last round is ejected, not only is the last round, the spent brass pulled out and extracted, but the firing block, the on-block clip is also ejected as well. Let me demonstrate by pulling back the lever to simulate firing of the last round. Did you see that? It came up and pretty much flew straight at the camera. And it makes that distinct pinging and ringing noise. A lot of soldiers actually found that pinging to be rather a liability on the battlefield. So what a lot of soldiers did is they would, when they realized that they're down to their last round, they would top off and physically put in more rounds into the rifle before you know, that last round is ejected. Another tactic that soldiers did is they would take empty clips, you know, keep them in their pocket, and to more or less simulate that they're out of rounds out of their rifle, they would just take the empty clip, throw it up against a rock or something hard to make the ringing noise, and fool the enemy to think that they're out of rounds. And as they come out and charge, they still have a full rifle, actually fully loaded, and they take them out. I want to go more over on the functioning of the rifle itself. Like I said, it is a semi-automatic operated rifle, and it is gas operated. Up here towards the front, this barrel that is underneath the firing barrel itself, that is your gas chamber assembly, and you can see that it's a pretty long. Actually, the gas chamber begins from right here, just behind this this lanyard loop, up to over here, which is your forward locking lug for that gas chamber. Underneath here, that is the gas operating rod, which is pushed backwards by the gases from the firing shell. The firing shell comes up here. There's a hole in the barrel, which pushes down, which allows gas to push down into this gas chamber cylinder, and the cylinder itself pushes back the gas operating rod's piston. The piston thus pushes back this operating rod. This is the rod right here, which goes into the gas chamber. This operating rod goes back into the rifle on the inside of this lower receiver, and it is physically connected to the operating rod, which in turn operates the bolt to unlock and extract the spent brass. As you can see, I'm trying to get a close up here. It's hard to do. I don't know if you can see that, but as I pull back on the operating rod, you also see the rod on the forward of the upper receiver is moving back and forth in there. Safety functions of this rifle is really basic. You have a safety lever right here on the trigger guard in front of the trigger. That is safe position. The hammer's already cocked inside. Pull the trigger, it doesn't fire. You have to have it forward before you may fire the weapon. That was the hammer coming down on the inside, thus firing the bolt. Now, the safety on the M1 Garand cannot be engaged unless the hammer is fully cocked. So let's go ahead and cock that hammer. And you can engage the safety. Take it off safety. On this side over here, you have your operating rod catch lever. So let's say you have a half full clip inside to keep your bolt from closing again. What you can do is you can pull back your operating rod, depress the operating rod catch lever, and it will keep the bolt back. Drawback is your shell and your clip and your shells, I'm sorry, will be ejected. The sights on the rifle are rather basic. This is a peephole style sight system. I'm going to try to bring it around so you can see. There's the peephole on the sight, in which you look through to aim. And on the forward, you have an open style front blade, protected with the left and right blade assembly right there. There are holes cut on the left and right flanges to allow light to come through, so that you could see the tip of the forward blade, and also to give you assistance in aiming more accurately through the open sight system. Over here you have your windage and elevation controls. Just a simple click. This is your windage operation right here. your windage knob. One click will move it one graduation tick. I don't know if you can see that right there. It's graduated on the back of the receiver right there. So a couple of ticks moves it over just a little bit, and a couple of ticks the other direction moves it to the opposite way, traversing left or right on the rifle. And this is your elevation knob. As you can see right there, it actually either elevates your peep sight up or depresses your peep sight down into the rifle, which of course would inversely either raise your muzzle up or lower your muzzle down, depending on how you need to sight your rifle. The M1 Garand has been referred to by many as the greatest battle implement. Actually, they are quoting George Stephen Patton, and for right reason so. In the hands of a rifleman and in a company of around 100 or so men, these guys could lay down a lot of firepower very quickly, and they could lay down more firepower than what they could with the old 1903 Springfields. And this rifle stayed in the service up until around 1957, at which time the United States military adopted the M14 rifle to replace the M1 Garands. And if you think about it, the M14 is just an upgraded M1 Garand. So the lineage of the M1s actually lived on up until the early 60s, when the M14 rifles came in and replaced the M14s. Even to this day, the M1 Garands are sought after by collectors, and also a lot of folks find this rifle a very good platform for sporting, for sporting purposes such as hunting and competition rifle shooting. Well, if anybody knows more about these rifles, please do post below and comment. I'm always looking for more information on these things, and I'm always on a learning mode on these rifles. So if you can, please do reply below. And this is Savage Jim. Thank you.